Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. How are you? This is Juan Carlos from Inspiral Growth. Today, on this episode of Growth Hacks Experience, we have a great friend and a special guest. His name is Marcus Matthews. He's an award winning life transformational coach. Let me tell you a little bit about Marcus and about the experience that we're going to have today. As an award-winning life transformation coach, Matthews, with an incredible story of triumph over adversity, he passed from serving his country in the British Army, from facing personal struggles that led him to, let's say, hard moments in his life. Marcus emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to empower others on their transformational journey. Today, we're going to go on some of the steps and some of the skills and experiences that he gained over time to be able to deliver this to the world. I feel very honored to have a fellow coach from Mind Valley as well here in this episode. Marcos, how are you?
I am great. I am. Thank you for having me on. I'm really, really excited for this. I love doing a podcast. So definitely because we've got that link to Mind Valley as well. So I've been wearing my Mind Valley t-shirt today. I didn't realize that I put that on today, but yeah. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Super, Marcus. Well, Marcus, some of the segments, some of the communities that we share growth hacks experiences are founders of startups and scale-ups. During my experience in the corporate world and with startups, we face always the same issues. We face these issues that somehow we were so in love of what we are doing that we don't really set a healthy habits. I would say we don't know how to set boundaries. We this energy. We think that actually we can do everything. And I've been there, almost burnout, and these are the moments actually that with GrowFax experiences we would love to have experts and specialists like you to tell us, like, what should we take care of, what should we be looking at, how should we start taking care of ourselves better.
You know, one of the things that I would say is, and I wish nobody really talks about this, environment is key. I'd start with the word environment. And I'd ask myself, using that word environment, what is my internal environment like? So what is that voice saying in my head? What is my external environment like? What is my environment within my home? How is everything tidy? What is the environment of the people that are around me? Are they taking me down or are they bringing me up? And where is my community? So for me, it's about anchoring into what is the environment that you want to create within, so that manifests on the external side of it. And yeah, we can go into the minutiae of meditation, mindfulness, and we can go doing like Mind Valley quests. And we often get so focused externally on gurus that you have all the answers you need on the inside, but you need to be able to create an environment on the outside to allow you to explore that. So my key is to ask yourself that question in all areas of my life. Well, what is my environment like? And I wish I'd have known that when I started, because I did what everybody else did, is I look externally for the answers, for the hacks, for this. And yes, they are there, and people will come into your life and they will give you nuggets of information. But at the end of the day, they're all opinions. What is the environment that I want to create? Somebody will tell you, go vegan, do this, do that, do the other, whatever it is, but they're just opinions. And I would say, don't be afraid of creating your own environment. So that would be my first starting point. What is my environment in all areas of my life? That would be my first starting point.
Do you see that here's where it comes, one of the challenges indeed that we face, that I have seen other family. Do you consider that environment also has to be well protected around your family, for example? What about, for example, what is happening at home?
I think the other thing that I would say is focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. Because
Okay.
we often focus on what we can't control. I have a very simple tool that I work with clients on this. And I say, get a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, when whatever the challenge is, and put out of my control, in my control. What is in my control? So my emotions are in my control. But what environment do I need to create? So it might be everything is chaotic at home, but I need to create an inner environment. I need to want to meditate. And that meditation might be 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So then you set a boundary. So the other thing, I learned this actually from the amazing Lisa Nichols, and she said, most of us diary in things to do, but we don't diary things in not to do. We don't diary in our time for ourselves, and we don't diary in time and make that time non-negotiable, especially if you're an empath, if you're somebody who's giving, and often we will label ourselves and say, hey, yeah, but I'm an empath. Ditch the label. You're a human being. You're a piece of consciousness having a human experience. So whenever you say, well, I'm an empath, or I'm this, or if you use the word I am, then you are.
Fix.
So it's as simple as that, right?
Yeah.
So often, again, instead of if you want to nullify that, just say that. Just create a neutral word, because your environment is key. And we often will look at the macro. We'll look at I want this big thing. I want the money. I want this. But what is it you want? Most of us want peace, love, freedom, purpose. So set yourself, balance. Yeah. So you could set yourself 3 challenges a day where I'm going to spend time with myself for 2 minutes a day. Is that achievable? Yes. And you put everybody on notice. It might be 5 minutes and say, okay, at 8:05 every morning, I'm gonna spend some time on my own just reflecting on how I feel. Is that feasible for everybody? Absolutely. And what you'll find is that when you create that environment, even if it's just for 5 minutes, done consistently every day, the impact will compound. But we focus too much on the big goal rather than the small little micro move that we can do. So it might be, let's say, for example, your health, and you want to, you shouldn't be eating cookies or chips or whatever, right? And maybe just have one less cookie.
Yeah.
And don't feel shame about having the cookies. Instead of 3 cookies, I'm just going to have 2. And then in a few weeks' time, you go, I'm just going to have 1. So those little micro moves and creating an environment where you can get little micro wins every day will give you that dopamine hit, that hit in which you feel that you're going to achieve something. So make your goals at the beginning really small. What's that one conversation I can have with somebody today? So that's what I would say. It's small things done well consistently in an environment in which you feel you have control.
Wonderful. It reminds me to this quote from Winston Churchill. I think it was that continuous effort beats talent and knowledge every day.
Yeah. And I would also say that anchoring in the why of why you're doing it. Because there's a direct correlation with this. I'm a massive Simon Sinek fan, and there's a direct correlation with this in the what, the how, and the why. So the what is pretty tangible. We know what we're doing, or we might know what we're doing. We may even know how to do it, but why are we doing it? So if you take that essence of what I've just said, that I'm going to spend 5 minutes just spending time with myself every day, I've just told you to do that. But why? And I'm not saying you should, but why do that? Why is meditation good? People go and meditate. It's good for your mental health. Why? I would be deeply curious in why is your environment like that? What is your active part in it? So reverse the order. Don't go from what, how, why, go why, how, what. Why am I here? Big question. Start with that big question. Why am I here? What, why am I here? What is my purpose? And actually, that's the other tip that I would give to people, is that often we focus on how am I going to get to that place? And I correlate to that to the left and right brain. So if our left brain is our logical brain, that's our what. And our emotional brain is our why. And our emotional brain runs 95% of everything. So if we ask the question of what and then why, the how becomes the corpus callosum, the bit that brings the what and the why together. And that's when the universe starts to conspire for you. You don't actually need to know the how. All you need to know is, this is what I want. This is why I want it. And all of a sudden, the mind becomes a goal-seeking machine to look for the opportunities to bring the what and why to fruition. That's basically the rule of law of attraction. And then when you create the environment in which you can then look at the what and the why, then vibrationally, your auric field, you feel better because you're now giving yourself purpose. And because you're giving yourself purpose, your vibrational level raises. And because your vibrational level raises, you have more confidence in your what and your why, and it compounds. I can't tell you that it compounds, but I can tell you that works.
Yeah.
But it's doing it on a small scale first and getting consistent.
Wonderful. Just for our viewers today, I would like to remark that Marcus is not only a business coach, he's a life coach, has certifications with Marisa Peers in transformational coaching.
I'm actually one of Marisa Peers' trainers, so I'm actually part of Marisa Peers' team and the Mind Valley team as well. So yeah,
this is really special, viewers. This is the kind actually of coaching that is even faster in some cases.
Can I tell a little story?
Yeah. Please tell me.
So let me tell you this story, which kind of proves what I've just said. So, over 2 years ago now, I asked myself that question: what am I doing? Why am I doing it? And how can I create an environment? And where was it I started my journey? So my journey actually started with Mind Valley. When I was kind of suicidal, I broke. There was nobody there for me. Saw a Facebook post by Marisa Peer, by Mind Valley, and kind of just started that journey. So around about 2 years ago, probably just over 2 years ago, I sat in that space again and went, how can I create an environment where I'm going to feel vibrationally more aligned? And again, the universe put this thing in front of me. It was CLC, Certified Life Coach, with Mind Valley. Now, I've been doing life coaching and training and all the rest. I didn't need the certification, but I went, oh yeah, Mind Valley. And I remember getting on the call, and financially, I wasn't brilliant at the time. And I got on the call, and the guy went, it was whatever, however many thousands of dollars it was. And I went, yeah, what? And he started to tell me about it. I said, I'm not interested. And he went, what? I said, I'm literally not interested in the content whatsoever. There's something inside me that just tells me that I need to get back into an ecosystem where I'll be just surrounded by people who want to make the world a better place. I started that journey with Mind Valley. I'm just coming back into the ecosystem again. Here's my credit card. Let's start the journey. And it was like the easiest sale ever. Fast forward 12 months from that call, when we'd started CLC, and Vision and Ajit opened up the opportunity. I think they've had about 7,000 coaches go through CBC, Holobody, all of the different kind of certifications through EverCoach. And they opened up the opportunity for Certified Life Officer, where they were taking CEOs, C-suite executives through 12 years of transformation for 12 months. And they wanted coaches that were going to take kind of the top coaches that they deemed. And at that time, I was like, who am I to apply? And I just went, oh, let's apply and just put it out there. And went, okay, let me write that down. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And what environment would I like to create? So I applied, not thinking of anything. And I got through. And I've had the privilege of working with Vishen and Najit and Rona and Diego and Lorenzo over the past 12 months. But actually, the awesome coaches that I've had great friends with, which was really weird because I was in Tallinn this year and we've been working with each other for nearly 12 months. And first time we'd met, and it was awesome. But what I'd done is I'd asked a question of how do I create an environment? What do I need to do and why do I need to do it? What actually happened is I started that environmental journey, and now I have an environment where I'm connected to some amazing coaches, and I've done 2 super coaches now down in Tallinn, always an amazing environment. But it started with a little macro move that compounded over 12 months, which then created a new opportunity to go and work with, some of the greatest thought leaders in the world. I mean, I've already been in Marissa's ecosystem. I did a webinar with her last week, and that then compounded again. But I anchored in my why. I anchored in my what, and the how kind of took care of itself. So that's just, I always wanted to tell that story just to give you a concept of how I didn't even comprehend that from starting that journey that I'd end up working for Mindvalley. Same with Marissa. I'd never even contemplated at the start of doing that I would be, one of Marissa's main trainers and helping in the team and doing that sort of stuff. I'm off to Rushden in September to train the new RTT students. But then wow. So what I'm saying is I know this works.
Yeah.
I've seen it with lots of my clients, but notice how simple it is. It's about setting the intention of what environment do I want to create, and we focus so much on the information and the how rather than what do I want to feel.
Yeah.
Because feeling creates everything. It's not thought. I don't believe in mindset. Mindset is the gateway to heart set, and heart set creates vibration. Vibration goes out to like a beacon, and then we start to attract everything in. Sorry, I'm super passionate about this. So
no, perfect. Thank you for sharing. Indeed, I believe that for some of our a group of or viewers are also coaches, coaches from us, and indeed, I think we need these stories. We need these stories to believe in what we're doing as well, because as you know, the experience of learning to be a coach, whether it's a hollow body or a transformational coach or a business coaching, there's always an experience of 2-3 months, 6 months. But if you don't continue doing that same effort week after week, like what you're mentioning, then that's how you see actually some people actually dropping the ball after 1 month or 2 months.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing to look at, especially if people are, I wouldn't necessarily call myself a business coach, although I work with C-suite executives, and the reason why I wouldn't say that I'm a business coach, I'm not even a life coach. They're just labels. Yeah. What I do is I try and help people have better days. So whether that's a better day in business, whether that's a better day with your family, whether that's a better day with yourself, actually what we want is better days. And what creates a better day? That creates people, it creates environment. But you can be in the worst environment in the world and be with great people, but you could also be with great people in a really bad environment. But what if you can get both of those together? What if you can have a great environment and great people? And that's one of the things that I love about Mindvalley, the Mindvalley parties. They're places that are completely safe and you can have deep, meaningful conversations with people in a great environment. So that's the reason why so many people are attracted to Mindvalley. That's what Vision is trying to build. And if we could amplify that into the world, but that starts with every single person, and it's a ripple effect. So if we start with self, and if we start with creating the environment inside ourselves and outside of ourselves, then that will impact the people in our environment, who will impact the people in their environment, who will impact in their environment. And we create this ripple effect that soon becomes a tsunami. So I think that's the thing, is that a lot of people, when they start on their coaching journey, they often say, I want to change the world.
Yeah.
If you want to change the world, change yourself.
The changes come from inside out.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Abs- And Marcus, now that we consider the facts of the things that we need to keep doing, the things that we need to make sure that we put in practice within our lives, what would you consider in terms of entrepreneurs, athletes, in this case, for example, that you have been working with, and by all means as well, business coaches in general? What do you consider that they are doing at this moment wrong, that they should stop doing?
I would say don't use the word wrong or right.
Okay.
I know
Okay.
that sounds daft. Okay, because wrong and right is a perception. So let me give you an example.
Yeah.
I won't mention who the client was because I don't have that permission. But they're a kite surfer. They're a world champion kite surfer, and they were going into the world championships, not sleeping, feeling really really anxious. There was a lot of pressure from sponsors and stuff like that. And I asked one question: what do you love about kite surfing? And he went inside and you could see, he was like the waves and the wind and just being one with the kite and all the rest of it. And my next question was, when was the last time you focused on what makes you happy when you're kite surfing? And I said, what if you went into that competition without any expectation and you just went in and went, I'm just going to go and have fun? And that's what we forget. We're so hung up on those egotistical exterior things that, is this making me happy? What is fun about this? And I said, you can't control what the sponsors want from you. Yes, there's some that pressure. They're paying for things. You can't control all of the other stuff that's out there. What you can control is why do I do this? And what's the worst case scenario? I said, if you lost all your sponsorship, if you lost all your money, if you lost all your house and you lost everything, but you could go out and kite surf every day and have amazing days every day just kite surfing, would you trade that for feeling anxious because you need to perform for other people? And he went, yeah. I said, I'm not saying you have to lose your house and you have to lose everything, but maybe focus on why you love doing what you're doing. And if you don't love it anymore, ask yourself why you don't love it anymore and what you could do next. Notice I use the word love, right? So everything comes back to love. What do I love about this? Because what we tend to do is we say what I don't love about that. And the mind does not know the difference between the negative and the positive, right or wrong. It only tells you exactly, it only acts on what you tell it. So therefore, when you're going through a tough time, what I always say is, what an amazing opportunity for me to learn something about myself in this moment. There's there's somebody called Dr. Susan David, who, I love this analogy. She said, when you're going through tough times, remember you're not the cloud, you're the observer of the cloud. And when you're going through an amazing happy times, you're not the sun, you're the observer of the sun. And I do a little exercise around this, which I won't go into. But if you think about it, if you spend that 5 minutes, 2 minutes a day being the observer of the breath, being the observer of the touch, being the observer of the taste, being the observer of the thoughts, you're not the thought, you're the observer of it. So my question I always ask people, who are you? You have a house, you have a car. These are all things that you have. You have a mind, you have thoughts. Are you your mind? Are you your thoughts? No. So my question is, who are you? And by being the observer of the experience rather than being the experience, then you kind of take yourself out of that whole environment of self and be the observer of self. And that's such a super powerful way of, if you think about what do we do when we have a problem, we go, oh, you did this to me. We're the observer of what somebody did. Well, why don't we be the observer of what we're doing? And then choose what takes us to love, what chooses what takes us to happiness. Problem is that means responsibility. And we don't want to take responsibility. We'd rather blame somebody else. And
Yeah.
it's